Deontay Wilder, bronze bomber, fighting out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the former heavyweight champion of the world.
So it's been 14 years since we got a new boxing game, and Undisputed Boxing is, it's alright. It was released in early access on PC in January 2023 and officially released to consoles in October 2024. It's getting a lot of mixed reviews, but a lot of those reviews are due to the expectations that came with the early access. So let's jump into this and help you decide whether it's worth your time and money. Before we start, I made a video reviewing the early access version of this game, so don't get it twisted. This video is covering the full release of the game. So first things first, the customization. You actually have a lot of options in customizing your fighter. You can totally change the way their face looks, all the way down to the brow, nose shape, everything in between. You can change muscle tone. It's pretty detailed, especially compared to the early access. Not to mention, you can finally move tattoos around, you have a bit more hairstyle options, and you have your fighter traits, which are basically like perks for your fighter, whether you're more inclined to get flash knockdowns, things of that sort. There's a ton of different stats that you can tweak, so you have a lot of options there to make a pretty solid fighter, but it is lacking a little bit in customization. The shorts are nice, the shoes are nice, the gloves are nice, you can brand everything, you can change patterns, color schemes. There's a lot there, but ultimately, personally, I would like more tattoos, I would like a bit more hairstyles and facial hairstyles as well. But ultimately, it's not bad. It's enough to be able to make a pretty decent fighter and have it be pretty accurate to what you want. In terms of venues, there's 20 different venues to choose from, and there's a solid variety in terms of atmosphere. You have everything from little gym venues to outdoor venues to massive arenas, so I think there's enough there. It's pretty solid. With the fighter selection, there's a decent amount of fighters to choose from, but we're still missing some pretty big names. We don't have Mike Tyson, we don't have Tank Davis. I mean, somebody like Butterbean would be cool, Triple G. We don't have Anthony Joshua. And they removed Ryan Garcia prior to the full release. I'm not the biggest boxing fan in the world, but even I know that we're missing a ton of boxers that would bring a ton of value to the game. And the big problem with this is Steel City really went out of their way to promise a massive selection of fighters during the early access. So as you can imagine, everybody was definitely underwhelmed when they realized how many options we actually have. So for game modes, look, there really isn't much value here aside from career mode, and I'll get into that. But we have quick fights, we have this prize fights game mode where it's like 3 prize fights. It's really nothing special. And then we have online mode, and then there's career mode. See, online mode is really broken right now, and I'll get into that as well. But with that being said, your main game mode, if you buy this game, is career mode. And at the end of the day, career mode really isn't too bad. You hire coaches, you can negotiate fights, you can fight for multiple belts, you can develop your fighter over time. The problem is there isn't any training mini games at all. You can't switch weight classes, and a lot of the fighters that are the champions of your weight class or in the top 10, they basically stay there until they retire, which takes forever if they even actually retire. They're just kind of there your entire career. And Steel City really prided themselves on having a ton of fighters to fight, when in reality, you might as well throw in an additional 30 or 40 randomly generated fighters. If you don't, it can get pretty boring. With career mode being your most important game mode as of right now, after 1 or 2 playthroughs, it's really dull. There's no real replayability. The reason why online mode is so bad right now is solely because of the gameplay. I'll say this, it's way smoother than it was during early access. Even the menu is smoother and cleaner, but head movement almost feels useless at times. You're better off managing distance rather than trying to dodge punches with head movement. And on top of that, if you're stepping backward and you hit the left trigger to engage in the head movement, it's kind of like choppy and weird. And the other thing is, phantom punches are a thing. This mainly happens in online fights, but you could literally be like 5 to 10 feet away from the fighter and their punches will still hit you. It basically makes online mode unplayable altogether. The other issue is power punches. As things currently stand, you can throw an absurd amount of power punches without much stamina loss, which has led people in online to basically spam Deontay Wilder's power punches. This is another issue that makes online unplayable because people will just walk forward, throw power punches until you're knocked out, and it's honestly ridiculous. It's way too overpowered. Movement can feel sluggish at times, especially when you rock someone, and I thought it was my PC, but after reading online and seeing other people experience it too, I've realized that it's solely a bug in the game. If you rock somebody and you try and move forward, you're super sluggish while they're backing up and just spinning around you the whole time. It makes it really hard to actually capitalize on those big moments and win the fight. Now, another critical issue, and one that I think is just fundamentally wrong with the game, stamina loss and eye swelling and cuts, they're a huge issue. After testing, we've realized that they're affected by the number of punches rather than the damage of the punches. In other words, the number of punches received to the body decreases your stamina regardless of the damage done to the body. The same applies to cuts and swelling too. So it's mainly a numbers game rather than capitalizing on open windows, throwing power shots, things of that sort. And that's a fundamental issue in the game that needs to be fixed ASAP. I was also hoping we'd get more KO animations in the full release, but it seems like we have the exact same ones. I don't know what it is about boxing and UFC games, but they just can't get the animations right nowadays. The animations aren't bad, but the lack of variety completely takes away from the satisfaction and realism of dropping an opponent. You get the same KO animations with an uppercut, you get the same ones with the hook. The only way you're getting a variety is if you drop them by the actual ropes of the ring. Overall, this isn't the worst boxing game to ever release. It definitely has an upside. The problem is that Steel City Reserve had this game in early release for over a year and promised to make a bunch of changes and fixes to things, and they just didn't follow through. That's the big concern here, is they promised it and they didn't follow through. So half of the things that I'm complaining about could be fixed with the right amount of patches and updates. The problem is, we really don't know if they're actually going to fix it. The people that played the early release were hoping for a full and complete game without bugs. And just like every other game developer these days, they gave us a mediocre game that isn't meeting expectations. Given how bad online mode is at this point, your main value comes from career mode. After 1 or 2 playthroughs, there isn't much more value or replayability. I bought the game during early access for like 20 bucks. Right now, I probably wouldn't pay full price for the game. I wanted a new boxing game forever, and while it's fun to have a new boxing game, there isn't enough content to make it worth a full price game. I'd recommend waiting for it to go on sale, and hopefully during that time Steel City Reserve will make the proper fixes to bring more value and replayability to this game. Have you guys bought the game yet? Are you feeling the same way I am? I mean, it's decent, but it's not the best. If we compare it to Fight Night Champion, it doesn't hold up. Fight Night Champion is still timeless, and that should say a lot. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.